Okay, so I'm Kari Williams, and
I'm Ben Williams.
we have been married for about 6 years. We have a son who is now 7, but at the time he was 3, and we decided that we wanted to try and have another baby. We tried unsuccessfully for a year to have a baby before we were referred to a fertility doctor. And everything seemed to be okay, so we started some fertility treatments, and we immediately, probably 3 months in, got pregnant. And I remember I told you on our wedding anniversary, and then a very short while later we had our first miscarriage.
When she lost that first child, it was a very tough experience to watch what she was going through at the time, and in all honesty, our first miscarriage, I kind of dealt with it like, okay, it's going to be okay, we can get through this, but really not looking at what effect it is having on my spouse. And
I would say it was really the stresses became they took a toll on our marriage big time. It was just a everyday thing, It was just a terrible, terrible time that I'll never forget. Shortly after that, we got pregnant again, and that was, we made it almost to the second trimester. We were about a week away, and we lost the baby. So, that was awful. It was just as terrible, I would say, as the first time around. But instead of reacting the way that we did and letting it put a divide in between us, the church was already changing us. Rock Spring was already changing us.
And I think the hardest part as a man was, again, looking at my spouse, and with a softened heart now from being back into church and letting God work in me, really felt helpless. There was nothing I could do, again, watching the devastation to my wife. And at this point, it was, a frustration level, but at this point, it was more not in a selfish way on my part, why is she acting like this? It was more of, I couldn't bear watching her go through this again. But ultimately, we weren't doing it alone anymore. Now we weren't alone. Now we had people to talk to. We had a church to turn to. We had an awesome pastor and an awesome prayer group and people that were there to support us in these times of need.
About 4 months later, I went back to the oncologist for my follow-up, and I found out that it was back again, and I needed to have surgery again. Through this time, I was baptized. I was serving in the children's ministry in Kids Rock, and I was just completely ready. Like I was ready for whatever was happening. I was communicating with Pastor Mike about my medical issues, and he was praying for me and talking to me and talking with us. And I was like, I'll take anything I can get. I need to be prayed for.
Right.
So anyway, we did it. That was a very emotional experience for all of us. It was just something I'll never forget.
It was amazing for Connor to see that.
Yes.
Connor was with us, and
yes.
It was just awesome to have our son be able to see that, the power of prayer really
yes.
going on. And
it was the first time I had experienced the power of prayer like that. I mean, that was just a raw, pure, emotional, you just felt God. I mean, he was there, he was with us.
I remember the phone call. I was at work, and up until this point, every phone call that I had received from my wife while I was working was always something bad. It was always, there was another, you need to take off so that we can go to another doctor's appointment, or I think one of the miscarriages I found out over the phone, and So everything I had received up to this point is extremely bad, and we had just been prayed for, which was awesome, and we had a good feeling walking away from that, but still we had this really bad cancer scare. We were waiting on tests to come back is what we were waiting on. So I get a phone call from her, and she tells me, I don't even think you used fancy or nice words about it. You just came around and said, I'm pregnant. And I was like, excuse me, you're what is this?
Well, I was scheduled to have surgery that week, which is why Pastor Mike and the elders were praying over me, is because I put it in the prayer request in the tear off in the bulletin that I just wanted some extra prayer, and because I was going to have the surgery, and then they prayed for me, and I was pregnant. I found out I was pregnant the very next day. So it was just, well, he didn't believe me. It took at least 5 minutes of me saying that I was not joking. I would never joke about something like that. And he's just like, how? I don't, you shouldn't be able to, we didn't use any fertility treatments, nothing. It was completely just God's way. And then Jackson came. There's just no other way to.
It's crazy. For 3 years, we did it our way. We first of all, we did it without God. We did it without having a relationship with God as a family, and then as individuals. And so we did, man's way. We went through the flesh and had tests and shots and medicine and all kinds of stuff all the stuff she did. I cannot believe the things that she did. Daily shots that she had done, and all these things. None of it worked. But God worked. God worked and brought her through it. Brought us all through it. Our family, the two of us, and gave us our awesome son, a new addition to our family.
We went from a terrible, dark place to just an amazing place, and it's all because of Rock Spring and the people at our church. As soon as we went there, we knew that we could go into this church being exactly who we are, just all of our faults, all of the terrible things that we were going through, the things that we had done to each other, and that was okay. And it wasn't just that it was said to us, come as you are. You literally can come as you are and be transformed, no matter what you're going through, no matter what you've done in life or what you will do. It's just an amazing place, and we owe it. We got Jackson, and I'm thoroughly convinced that this whole story wouldn't have had such a beautiful ending if it wasn't for Rock Spring and our relationship with God now, and the different dynamic of our family.